think maybe after Christmas, maybe in the new year, they will say that they're going to have a different life altogether. But um, look at that face, looks so unhappy. And I think it's very muddled. But, Meghan's very, very good at making everything look lovely and smiley and happy. But underneath, it can't be. It just can't be.
Angela Levin, what's the latest on Harry and Meghan's relationship? What are you hearing?
Well, it's very difficult to hear anything. One minute I'm told that, they're still, way apart from each other. Another one is that they're not apart and they're together. But it doesn't make any sense to me that they are getting on better. Because if you want to, as they say, work very differently between each other, and you can have a nice time doing that. That makes a lot of sense. But you then still come back to your other half. You come back for a meal, you come back to stay with them overnight, you come back to see your children if they are there. You don't actually have nothing to do with your other half. I mean, what is that? That means that it is much worse because Harry's only doing things that last a day or 2 days. He's not going out, and still nearly 3 months now that he's not gone home. That's not because he couldn't manage it. It's not one thing that he's got to finish and he can't get back. He's not filming, somewhere out of America that he has to be away. This is him finding things to do. I think going back into the past and joining them again. But I think it looks very bad, really. But they both Meghan can put on a very good face, and Harry, I think, is lost. And I think maybe after Christmas, maybe in the new year, they will say that they're going to have a different life altogether. But um, look at that face, looks so unhappy. And I think it's very muddled. But Meghan's very, very good at making everything look lovely and smiley and happy. But underneath, it can't be. It just can't be.
The tragic thing is, though, Angela, is that Harry is almost refusing to acknowledge there's an issue simply because he doesn't want to admit that he got it wrong. When he was
Well, that's the
asked,
point.
yeah, because when he was asked about the marriage on stage, he didn't say, "Oh yeah, things are great. This is all ridiculous." He didn't say anything like that. Instead, it was all about how delighted he was to prove the trolls, as he called it, wrong. And presumably he puts people like you and me into that category because we've reported
Yes,
honestly on him.
yes, yes. I think that's right, really. It's very difficult for him because what he's got left to sort of crawl back to Buckingham Palace and say, "You were right and I was wrong." I mean, can't see him doing that at all. He's stuck, isn't he? And even if he goes and finds his own home, it's still a failure. And I think I know he's felt when he was younger, he felt he was a failure. And that's why he wanted to write his books bare, because he did feel that, he couldn't do the same things that William did, not necessarily do them by hand, but he wasn't able to because he was the spare. And I think that he absolutely wouldn't want to see that William was right. He's got to get his own back on him first, and that will be terrible. So I don't know how he's going to get out of it. I think the only way, maybe the king will say something, or Catherine might say something because she's very homely and likes families. But, he could just say one snapped sentence and that's the end of it. So I think it's really very, very difficult for both of them, actually, because Meghan, although she puts on a great face, actually, she's not doing anything at all, really. Nobody wants to put her on a film. Nobody wants to allow her to produce a film. If you remember earlier in their togetherness, they wouldn't let her. She wanted to produce something, and they managed to wheedle out of it. And there was a book that she wanted to turn, and she wanted the book to be about her, and they stopped that. They have stopped her, so she hasn't actually done very much. And all this cooking thing that she wants, that won't be going. They said it's first thing in 2025, but she won't get the okay for at least 3 months after that. And how can you keep on doing something that people must be bored to death with now? Um, so it's hard. I think it's a lot of it is image making. When she goes to all these little parties and in and out quickly because she hasn't really been invited, and that makes her feel a bit better. She's dressed up and smiling away. People will, she hopes, offer her something, but they're not. They're keeping well away. And we've both read, haven't we, about Hollywood? They just don't want to. Get involved with her. She's very difficult, and it's always got to be her decision. So I don't think she can look into herself and see. And I think a lot of us can manage better if we think, yeah, we are a bit like that or a bit like that. She doesn't. I think she thinks we all see her as she would like to be, which isn't the same thing at all.
No, very good point. Very, very good point. I guess, Angela, there is a huge amount riding on the launch of American Riviera Orchard next year because that has to work,
I
given
don't
it's
think
really
it
their
will.
main income stream. It's going to
No,
be.
I'm sure it won't have to work because she's also got to have um, cleanliness discussed and looked at and done. And actually, if you've waited, why would she want to change the name of it now? Everyone's sick of it. And you make another name and you start cooking things for people. And there's lots of other actresses who do these things and do them quite well. But she's made a fool of herself in a way because she hasn't even managed to get the okay with the title. So I think it's not going to go very well. Will she have the staff? She decided that she should be the CEO. Remember that she can't find anyone who she thinks is right to deal with it. So she's doing it with herself. Herself. So how can you do it? You can't cook and manage the paperwork. You can't. It's just impossible. So it'll disappear, I think. She'll go on to find something suddenly, something else or someone else.
There's more trouble for Prince Harry at the moment, though, Angela, in terms of his Send to Bali charity. Now, this is really interesting, isn't it? The chief executive, Richard Miller, is gone. That comes after Baroness Chalker, the overseas development minister, quit last month. But what's very interesting is the charity is trying to sell it in a woke way, Angela, saying the shift reflects our continued commitment to being guided by voices from within the region we serve. So, what the suggestion is, Senta Bali needs a leader from Africa, presumably, is what they're suggesting.
Yes. Oh, this is very interesting because I spent a lot of time with Harry over this Centabile and met the other prince who done it with him. And the whole idea of having this place was that because there was so many people were dying of ITV and ITV, HIV and AIDS, and that the children would go to this school and be looked after, and their health would be treated, and they were trying to get them healthy and to live. So it was very much a basic thing. And Harry, when he went there, I saw lots of the filming. He was absolutely brilliant. He looked after the children, and he also cuddled tiny babies who were very ill. He was really, really good with them. You have to give him his due with all that. But now they've said it's very woke. I can barely understand it. Now issues are about youth health, wealth and quality and climate resilience. That's what they want the children to do now. So I wondered, has all the problems with HIV and AIDS gone. And I hate those things where you try and make children into something that they probably don't want to be. Youth health is fine, but I mean, they're not going to eat very extremely well because you tell them to, are they? Wealth inequality, I don't know quite what that means at all. And climate resilience. Now, what does that mean? They're not going to go out without a hat. It's changed it into being something very woke indeed, and not very actually attending to what was really important. So it's a huge shift, and I hope it works, but it's not what it was. I mean, it was really for poor children who were ill and had no money, and their parents had either died or left them, and it was very, very difficult. And Harry, I remember playing ball with them, playing football, and there was one little child who took to him enormously. He would only wear Wellingtons around. He was about 3, and he hung on to Harry all the time. And he grew up always adoring Harry. And Harry brought him over to the UK, and when he was at secondary school, and I still had a relationship with him. And I thought that that was brilliant. I mean, I think it's very important to say something nice that he did, and that's really true. That the little kids absolutely would run around him and hold him, and felt secure. And he loved it because he said, "I like best being with children because they don't make you feel awkward." And I think that's right. But making it all fancy dancy, it's not the same thing at all.
No, it's not. It's really not. Now, Angela, I have to say, I'm delighted about this one. Catherine, the Princess of Wales, nominated to be the Time Magazine Person of the Year. In reality, Angela, she probably won't win, and that is because Donald Trump is also one of the nominees. And usually, with Time Person of the Year, if someone is elected US president, they usually take that. But the reason I just think this is so delightful is it shows how things have turned around over the course of the year. Because, of course, remember, it was the Sussex Squad who were attempting to absolutely damn her in America with all of that vile stuff from Stephen Colbert and all of the untrue rumors, all of that. And also, you just know that Harry and Meghan are going to be so furious about it.
Yes, they will do. I'm surprised. And maybe tomorrow or the next day they'll come up with something that they're doing that they think that can take the interest away, because the winner is going to be announced on Thursday, so they've got a couple of days. I think I was delighted too, and I was particularly delighted because it meant that it was people who really understand quite a lot of what she's gone through and thinks she's so brave and so generous about the country that she loves. And she's done her very, very best to look after the children and to be very open and honest. You can imagine how difficult her 2 speeches must have been, when she, especially the first one, when she was feeling so ill and had so many hideous comments about her, that she was not even alive, she was an AL, and too terrible. And that here is a gracious person who is beautiful, intelligent, loving, and we're jolly lucky to have her. And I think that in a way that's more important than even being working very hard for the United States of America. Elon Musk is also on it, isn't he?
He is.
Um,
He is on the
but I
short
think you're
list.
probably right, because I don't think Donald Trump would like it if he didn't get it, if he's going to be president of America. But I still think that he would be very happy. He thinks William is wonderful. So I
Well,
think
indeed,
he'd
speaking
be,
of that, Angela, you've got, I know, quite a lot of views on how well William did with Trump over the weekend at the
yes.
opening of, well, the reopening of the Notre Dame Cathedral. But of course, they had this one-on-one unilateral meeting too.
Yeah. What's very interesting about that is that the government have chosen him to be the person who represents the UK. I mean, that is a huge burden to carry. And he seems to have done it a few weeks ago very, very well, because it comes naturally to him. And actually, whatever he feels about Donald Trump, I think he would behave in a very good way, very charming way, and that he would tell him a little bit about the royal family. You know, he said that the Queen was doing very well, and you know, King Charles is working very hard to get well. So you know, he's saying things so that Trump feels that he's got information from the family he really does love, but not actually spill any beans. You know, he'd be quite good at that. And I think that comes because he really wants to do this heavy stuff, you know, important stuff, that's important to this country and other countries as well. And he's learned how to be very charming. We've seen him with the homeless. If he can be with the homeless and he can be with Donald Trump, then he's a great man, because it's not easy to do both or even either. But he and small children, and children love him, and he's now very open to them. He lets them hug them. He was at a food place, and this woman came up to him and gave him a huge hug. She looked about sort of 50, huge, huge hug. And he let her do it, and then he moved away and he laughed. But, you know, it's not easy accepting that. The Queen wouldn't have liked that. She didn't actually go in for those sort of hugs. But he's just does what works with his family. And he can, there we are, look, absolutely lovely. He doesn't know them, but they'll remember that for the rest of their lives. And it's very nice. But he's obviously good. He obviously reads up, can keep the mood well, and I think it's very, very important. And also, he went before our Prime Minister to see Trump, which I think is very important as well, because I'm sure that Trump wants to go
Trump would
bypass.
much rather see
Yeah,
William, wouldn't he?
absolutely.
Much
I
rather see
think
William.
anybody would, wouldn't they? I mean, he's so unpopular, anybody
Yeah.
would.
And he's
And
so
so he's
dull. He's
already,
so dull. I mean, whereas William had so much charisma. But first, I love the holidays. It's my favorite time of year in so many ways. But I can find it to be very demanding going to all the events, dinners, looking for gifts, and planning the day itself. Every year, I tend to burn out quicker than the last, which may have something to do with getting older. But this year, I don't plan to burn out at all, because while getting older is inevitable, feeling older isn't. As we get older, our body's ability to create energy declines, but recent scientific discoveries have found we can actually increase our energy levels in our cells by taking something called NMN. Now, MNN has been shown to increase energy and endurance, activate our body's ability to burn fat, enhance mental function and health, improve blood pressure, regulate blood sugar levels, and support many other health markers. Finding high quality pure NMN is hard, so I do it through Verso. Verso conduct third-party testing for each batch they produce to guarantee you get what you pay for. It contains the highest quality NMN and other research-backed ingredients that have been shown to increase energy levels and slow down aging. After taking Celbene pretty much for most of this year, I feel like a younger version of me. I've noticed more energy, enhanced endurance, improved cognition, fat loss, better sleep, and if I do get a cold, I recover so much faster. So click on the link in the description on YouTube and Rumble, or head on over to buy.ver.so/outspoken. Make sure you enter the coupon code outspoken when you check out, and you will save 15% on your first order. So I'll just repeat the address: www.buy.ver.so/outspoken. Use the coupon code outspoken. But now, back to the show. Angela, look, while that was so good for William, terrible news for Harry. I just want to end with this. For the second year running, Spare is the most traded in book. People can currently sell a hardback copy for £3.38. So, I mean, goodness me, Angela. That's not a good day for Harry, is it? I guess a lot of people sort of bought the book out of curiosity, but don't want something so toxic in their library.
Yes, I mean, I think that the things that might make him have to leave the United States are in that book, and they do turn your stomach. They are very ludicrously there. I still can't find the person who encouraged him to do that. But he didn't add any more, thank goodness, but they're still repetitive of what he shouldn't have said in the first place. And I think that that's his fault. He's a grown man. He decided to do that, and it isn't what he likes, but it's just too bad, isn't it? He should have made his own decisions about these things.
Yeah. But I just I just find it so funny because really the book is just awful, isn't it? It's just such an awful book in so many ways. I mean, it's horribly, horribly written, and people have paid £28 for it, but they can sell it for £3.38. I just
I think
think,
it's very upsetting when your book goes down to that price.
yeah,
You might think, well, good, people can afford it now. But on the other hand, you think, oh, is this all it's worth? I haven't done very well, have I?
no.
I think he's in such a mess that everything's pretty awful for him at the
Yeah.
moment. And I
Well,
think
indeed,
it
because
would
you
be
also
for
have
Meghan.
now the terrible reviews which are coming for Polo. I know you gave it 0 stars. I gave it 1 star. The Daily Telegraph has given it 2 stars. I'd be very surprised, Angela, if there are any positive reviews coming about Polo.
I agree with you. I think it's also hard for them because they haven't been invited to Christmas with the family. And there's going to be, I think, 35 members of the family for Christmas. And I think that will be lovely for all of them. But they must feel, although they've said no over the last few, that's different. If you're actually not invited, then you feel that it's not fair. But it's absolutely right, because I think with the two people who are suffering from cancer still, the King and Catherine, that got to be calm. You want to be with people who are gentle and kind and
Absolutely.
make you laugh and happy and all that. You don't want someone, looking angry or trying to get an argument going or an apology going. Not going to work. So there they are. I think Eugenie is still deciding whether to come to the King's dinner or whether to go and spend some time with Harry, or she might do both. She looks after people too, and I'm sure she's still close to Harry and will help him feel that he has got a bit of the family. And she's also as a friend of Meghan, so but there's nothing like actually being in the thing, being in the moment and enjoying yourselves. And that's what happens to you if you are so unkind to your family.
Angela, it's worth noting, by the way, even the Guardian can't really see anything positive in Polo. 2 stars, Prince Harry's unintentionally hilarious profile of the world's stupidest sport. And I just want to read one line from it. From this review for you. It says, it's clattering and niche and feels like a spoof documentary designed to play on screens in the background of episodes of Succession. The end of the final season goes out of its way to tee up a sequel, but I really don't think any of us deserve that. Here's hoping the Cookery Show does better. And again, that's the Guardian. They're meant to be the supporters of Harry and Meghan, but I guess it's just so bad that no one can be positive. But Angela Levin, so brilliant to have you today.
Thank you. Nice to be here, as you know.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.